Hey guys, I've perfect scored the Exterminator. I did it a little bit earlier, but I kept running the fight because I wanted to optimize the clear, and at this point I have done so. So I'm going to be showing you the easy way to perfect score this with every single modifier turned on, assuming you have the good Clash of Wills units, including Esther. As you can imagine, Esther is required for this strategy to get rank 1. I honestly don't think Esther is going to be required for rank 1 strategies on this Clash of Wills. I think it'll be capable without her. That's yet to be seen, but I think it will be. But for this day 1 stuff, we're using Esther. So we're going to start Esther with Omni Cover, True Stormbrand, and Energizing Bunny. That's going to Omni Cover the party. We're going to shift Sky and shifted LB to stack her up. Kresnik is going to Arcane Stimulant to get morale. Lightning is going to bar Stonera to Earth Resist. Cardin is just going to hit the boss to deal damage. He's using a Thunder Weapon. And Laura is going to Courageous Roar just to fill morale gauge. Okay, so the boss does physical damage that doesn't have accuracy in Phase 1. He does later. But for Phase 1, no accuracy. So we're evading everything with Omni Cover on Esther. And then the boss does magical earth damage with Big Imperils. With 350 Earth Resist, you're immune to the Earth. So Esther's immune to the Earth with Earth Resist. She's evading the physical and she's Omni Covering everything. So nothing can hurt the party. The entire party can basically ignore gear. So we're going to go to the base form with Esther and do her base form LB. That's going to recharge that Omni Magnus. We're going to have Kresnik do Arcane Remedy for a immunity buff for the rest of the fight. Back to the base form with Sky. We're just going to Skyfall just to hit the boss. We don't want to guard. We don't really need to do anything else. Carton can just Rallying Cry to fill LB gauge. Laura can repeat Courageous Roar. And Lightning is going to deal thunder damage to the boss to seal him. You got to deal thunder damage every single turn. So make sure someone is doing that. And yeah, this is a really laid back clear. I decided to go to turn 10 on my clear because it makes morale a lot easier. With this party that I'm using, morale score was kind of a problem, but with a turn 10 clear, morale is very easy. Kresnik will just slowly fill it over time. Okay, so to continue filling that morale gauge, we'll use Kresnik to do his LB on turn 3. That's going to set up even more morale auto-casting. It's also going to slowly top off the team as we go. We're going to now have Esther in the base form, do the base form Magnus, and then bolting, impact, and slice. That's going to refill her LB gauge and put up a Sword in Peril for way later in the fight. We're going to shift Sky on this turn and stack her LB again. Lightning, we can literally just repeat these guys. Lightning's going to deal lightning damage, Carton will Rallying, and Laura will Courageous, just to fill morale gauge, really. Like this clear, I was doing it earlier on like a turn 5 burst and a turn 7 kill, but I wasn't getting a perfect morale score because I wasn't getting enough morale, so I extended it to the turn 10, which is fine. Like this clear is super laid back. I really enjoy it. There's no RNG. It's incredibly simple. You take 0 damage the whole time because it's designed for Esther and she just trivializes it. So her Magnus is now worn off, so we're going to go ahead and shift here, and we're going to put that Magnus back up, and we'll just do Shatterbolt twice because it fills morale gauge. So there we go. In the base form, Kresnik can just do some of his medicinal things just to fill morale. Sky can go to the base form and just hit the boss to fill her LB gauge. Lightning can hit the boss. Carton and Laura can just, repeat. And we're just slowly working that morale gauge slowly up. Slowly up. 0 risk. And it's even basically no risk in Phase 2 as well. And you'll see when we get there. It's going to be a few more turns. It's a little bit of a slow clear, but slow and easy, which is, the best way to do it. Okay, so we're going to go back to the base form with Esther, and once again, we're going to use her base form LB to refresh the Magnus abilities, which is the main reason. We're going to shift Sky and continue to stack her to get a nice and fully stacked up Sky. Super easy here. We can just reload Kresnik and just do all his remedies again to fill morale gauge. Laura can Courageous Roar. We need Earth Resist again, so we're going to go ahead and do that with Lightning. That's because I don't have enough Earth Resist on my Esther. If I had Mistina's STMR, I wouldn't need it, but I don't have it. And we're going to use Carton to deal Thunder damage this turn because Lightning was busy casting Earth Resist. Yeah, if you can gear your Esther to 350 without a buff, it makes it easier. I couldn't, so I'm using a buff, which is fine. Buff's on a buff. There's no problem with a buff. Alright, come on, boss. You can't hurt me. Chill out. Okay, so Esther is going to now, in the base form, Magnus, we're going to, what are we doing? We're going to Energizing and True Stormbrand. That's going to refill her back to full again. This time we're going to start getting ready. So Lightning is now going to Gun in Peril, and then just deal some Thunder damage to the boss. Carton is going to Fist in Peril, and then just deal some damage to the boss. Laura, just always Courageous Roar every turn. Sky to the base form. This turn, we'll use her Magnus and hit the boss 3 times. We are going to take some physical hits on Esther in a little bit. Not yet, but soon. And then turn 6, we can just, reload and medicinal a bunch with Kresnik. Technically, my Esther's mana is slowly going down, and I could use Kresnik to refill the rest of it, but whatever. Yeah, Kresnik could just triple cast Potion and top off Esther's mana. It doesn't really matter, we're fine. Okay, so we're going to be bursting on turn 8. So on turn 7, we're going to get ready for that burst. Now, Esther is not going to be a big burster on this clear specifically. On turn 8, that is. She is on the kill shot. So turn 7, we're going to have Esther refresh her Magnus. We're going to do Provoke this time, because we are going to take some damage soon. And we're going to do Quantum Storm on Kresnik to give him Extreme Nova frames. Let's see. We're going to refresh Earth Resist on Lightning. Sky can just do whatever. We're not going to use Tybus STMR yet. Sky can just hit the boss. Carton can hit the boss because we did Earth Resist that turn with Lightning. And then Laura can just, as always, just, fill LB gauge. And Kresnik, on this turn, Kresnik is going to ×4 normal cast to top off Esther the rest of the way. You notice how Esther's LB gauge was not filled? Now it is. Okay. And if your Esther gets into critical MP, you can use the morale skill to fill her MP as well. I probably should door pot her MP, which I guess I will do that after this clear. Okay. Yeah, so we're just Omni covering the entire fight. This makes this fight a complete joke. So now we're going to burst. Now most of the bursters are not at their full potential yet, so this is not going to be the damage cap turn. This is going to be just the threshold push turn. So we're going to go to the base form of Esther and just LB. Kresnik will use those granted Extreme Nova frames. We're going to shift Sky and do her shifted LB without Tybus STMR. Laura is going to shift and do Volatile Ammunition. Carton's going to shift and do Frenzy. Now, before we do any of this, well, first of all, also do the attack and magic buff. We're also this turn going to do the Relentless Will to break immunity just for the morale gain. We're already well past the morale perfect score at this point, but just in case. But on this turn, we're going to shifted LB on Lightning to AoE imbue and amplify thunder damage. That is important. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and chain this up. Make sure Laura is the first person clicked in your chain when you do this. So you should do somewhere around 2-ish billion, plus or minus about 200 million. Oh my goodness. We did 2.5 on the setup turn. Yeah, like I said, this Clash of Will is pretty easy if you have Esther. Whatever. We're going to do a lot more damage in a few minutes, so on turn 10. Turn 10 was intended to be the burst turn. That was a really high variance roll. I practiced this 3 different times to make sure it was smooth and it worked, and I never got 2.5 on the turn 7 burst, or the turn 8 burst, but whatever. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Anyway, so in the base form, Esther is going to Magnus and then use her other 2 skills to refill herself. Stay in the base form. Lightning is just going to deal thunder damage to the boss, although we already did. Carton can go to the base form. If you need LB gauge on someone, Carton can do Rallying Cry, or you can just hit the boss. It doesn't really matter. Laura Croft to the base form, and she's going to normal attack twice to refill her LB gauge. Sky to the base form. We're going to do Tyvis's STMR. That's going to give it the big burst next turn. And then Kresnik on this turn can do whatever you need. You can just MP, you can Remedy, you can Antioxidant. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now the boss has accuracy. Now he's going to start doing more attacks, but we're currently absorbing all the thunder attacks, which means we're also absorbing the hybrid attacks. We're still evading. The boss has accuracy down as well. He does have accuracy up also. All the earth damage we're still immune to. And if any of these attacks do get through and hit your Esther, then she has all the mitigations up from turn 7 when we did her provoke skill. That's all the racial mitigations and all that. So anyway, yeah, now it's turn 10. So it's time to finish the boss. So we're going to attack and magic buff. This turn, Lightning's going to jump in this chain with, a bolting strike. Carton is going to bolting strike as well. Laura is going to shift and volatile. Sky is going to shift and LB. Kresnik is going to Extreme Nova with Esther. And this time, Esther is fully powered up for the big boy burst. We didn't have her powered up on turn 7. Now she is. Okay, and we're just going to chain it up. Yeah, and that's pretty much the end of the fight. And this is the turn that we're going to do our big boy damage and get the damage cap if we hadn't gotten it earlier, but we did. So this should do more than 2.5. 2.7. Okay, so that was actually a low variance roll. So the turn 7 was a high variance, turn 10 was a low variance. I've had as high as like 3.1, 3.2 on turn 10. That was a really bad variance roll. It doesn't really matter because even with the terrible variance roll, we still perfect scored twice, in fact. Here's the breakdown. Again, these multi-burst fights aren't great for damage calculations. But, yeah, Esther was geared for tanking, not really damage. She's apparently not a DPS in Clash of Wills. She's a tank in Clash of Wills. But she does do some damage as well, more than Maeve at least. Carton is using a dual-wield build, so his damage was trash. Laura and Sky are using double-hand guns, and obviously that is the most broken thing in the universe in this game. Okay, so I will show you the gear in one moment. Be right back. Alright guys, let's go ahead and show the gear we used on that team. All modifiers turned on. So, the only thing that's super important for this strategy is obviously Esther. Esther has, in both forms, after a buff, 350 Earth Resist, Passive Provoke, and full evasion. Honestly, now that I think about it, I don't think passive provoke even matters. I think provoke is optional because you're omni covering regardless, so it doesn't even matter if the boss targets someone else, Esther's still going to jump in front and cover it. So both forms, 350 or better earth resist, evasion, and I don't think you need provoke. So here is my shifted Esther. I also gave her some LB fill with like high class dagger and luminous clothing, so she has 12 LB fill per turn. You know, those don't give any resistances, so if you need more resistance, you can use other sources, and you can take off the LB a turn. And I'm using the Leave It To Me card. So there's her shift form. We take no damage, so bulk doesn't even matter. Base form is geared for damage, but we still need 350 after a buff, earth resist, and full evasion. So this is her base form build, mostly geared for resistance, as you can see. So a lot of resist. And then full evasion. We're getting the rest of the evade from Fallen Moon and the Diadem of Will. So yeah, there's her build, and she was more of a tank this clear. 250 Machina, and we're stone. 250 stone, and what Esper did I have her on? Titan for higher earth resist. So there you go. Kresnik's gear is pretty irrelevant. You do want to get his LB gauge filled quickly on the first few turns, so we gave him 12 auto limit, Dragon's Brush, Call of the Wild, LB fill rate materia. Quad attack, actually the shift form doesn't need quad attack, only the base form does, but there we go. Base form, quad attack, and some light resist, so his self light damage doesn't kill him. And then here's his card. I just gave him a card with auto limit attached to it. And yeah, he does basically morale. He's just the morale filler. That's it. He didn't really bring anything critical other than filling morale. Oh, he filled LB gauge too, which is actually important for a few turns. So yeah, he does fill LB gauge, and he was the support chainer with Extreme Nova. You could use the Extreme Nova Materia, the Legends of something. But the problem is this is a physical attack and it dual wields, and I wanted Kresnik dual wielding for quad attack, but I don't want him dual wielding Extreme Nova, so we use the one from Esther that doesn't dual wield. Sky in the base form, Thunder Weapon just to seal the boss. Other than that, literally irrelevant. Typhus of Spirit, because like I said, we're Omni covering, so we don't need any survival on anyone whatsoever. They can completely ignore survivability. Does not matter. Shift form, classic gun build. So gun build, LB damage, and again, we don't need any kind of survival. So just LB damage with guns. 280 LB, 300 machine, 300 stone, and she did big boy damage. Laura in the base form, dual wielding with her TMR so she can get her LB filled again on turn 10. She's using the Pause of Prosperity to get morale gain. Optional if you don't have it, it's not important. Shift form, damage versus machines and stone. Maxed on both, and there we go. Carton in the base form, Thunder Weapon, because we do need him to seal the boss a few times. So Thunder Weapon, Lion Emblem to fill LB gauge. That's optional if you don't have it. And he unfortunately could not be dual wielding double hand on this boss because the killers were too much of a problem, and all the Clash of Wills gear was stolen from other units. So he had leftovers, but he did do 1 billion damage, and he was a little bit important for my cap. I wasn't capping when I tried with Bulwark. I added Carton. Cap done. Carton is the most replaceable unit on this clear, so if you don't have Carton, you could just use your best morale damage dealer, period. 300 machine and 250 stone. And then lightning, base form, naked, we didn't use it. Shift form, just whatever. Some LB fill, because she does need her LB. Stone resist. We do need a stone resist buff because our Esther doesn't have enough. And mana reduction, Lion Emblem, we never used it. So there we go. I'm getting a phone call, so that's the end of this video. I'll probably do more over the course of the week. Good luck to the rest of you.